You wake before the sun, not because you want to, but because the environment will punish you if you don't. Your eyes snap open, but they don't see the familiar walls of a bedroom. Instead, they are met with the dim, blue-gray light of a world carved out of frozen water. The first thing you notice isn't the cold, it's the silence. It is a silence so absolute that it feels like a physical weight on your chest, broken only by the low, haunting groan of shifting sea ice miles beneath you. You try to sit up and the air hits your face. It doesn't just feel chilly, it feels like a serrated blade cutting into your skin. In the 21st century, you think of cold as an inconvenience you fix with a thermostat. Here, the air is a weapon. If you are a stranger from the modern world, your immune system is already starting to stagger, and your body is beginning a game of Russian roulette with its own internal temperature. Modern comforts have made you soft. You are standing in a place where the concept of fresh air is replaced by a biological hazard zone of sub-zero temperatures that can freeze exposed flesh in minutes. You have exactly 24 hours to prove that your modern human brain can adapt before the Arctic claims another victim. Your home isn't a romantic setting of castles or knights. It is a single room of packed snow and ice that holds your entire life. The floor beneath your feet isn't packed earth like a medieval hut, but a frozen shelf covered in heavy caribou skins that smell of old musk and rendered fat. As you sit up, the sensory assault begins. The air inside is cold and damp, and the low-hanging soot from the kulak, the stone oil lamp, stings your eyes just as smoke from a peat fire would have blinded a peasant in 900 AD. There is no privacy here, and no silence from the heavy breathing of the family huddled beside you. In this world, their warmth matters more than your comfort. Your modern human brain is currently your greatest liability. In the 21st century, you have traded individual capabilities for technological dependence, and now that your tools are gone, you are clueless. You are currently a biological hazard to yourself because your body, used to chlorinated tap water and climate-controlled offices, is utterly unprepared for this hostile environment. This is a game of Russian roulette with your metabolism. To survive, you must burn 5 times the calories of a normal day just to keep your heart beating, but your modern body is sluggish and soft. Outside the tunnel-like entrance of the igloo, a labyrinth of timber and stone does not exist. There is only the realm of absolute darkness and shadow and a shifting white desert. Every rustling sound or the deep, thundering crack of the sea ice represents a terrifying transformation of your status from human to prey. While you are squinting at the horizon, trying to figure out where the land ends and the frozen sea begins, an Inuit hunter would have already identified the nuances of the wind and the snow that would mean the difference between life and death. You have exactly 24 hours to realize that the Arctic is not waiting for you to succeed. It is a world that does not care if you survive, and it is waiting for you to vanish. Now that the initial shock of the morning has passed, your second and most urgent challenge isn't the environment outside, it's the engine failing inside your own ribs. Your life in the Inuit world is governed by a biological clock that is ticking faster than it ever has before. And as a modern human, your metabolic rate is about to hit a wall. In your 21st century life, you think of food as a social activity or a chore. But here, it is the only fuel keeping your heart from stopping in the middle of a sentence. While a medieval peasant might burn 4,000 calories during a grueling harvest day, that amount is a mere snack in the Arctic. To survive just 24 hours here, your body requires upwards of 6,000 to 8,000 calories, the equivalent of eating nearly 15 McDonald's cheeseburgers before noon. But there is no bread here, no sad, watery soup, and no coarse barley. There is only fat, thick, yellow, rendered marine blubber. As a modern human, your body is a biological hazard to itself because your digestive system is clueless about how to process this level of lipids. You have traded individual capabilities for technological dependence, and your gut bacteria, raised on chlorinated water and processed grains, will likely rebel against the only thing that can save you. To stay alive, you must engage in a sensory assault that would shock you to your core. You must eat the meat raw. In the Inuit world, eating raw isn't a culinary choice. It is a life-saving medical necessity. While the medieval world suffered from St. Anthony's fire caused by fungus-infected rye, you face the very real threat of scurvy. Without the vitamin C found in the raw skin of a whale or the warm liver of a seal, your teeth would eventually loosen and your old wounds would begin to open. In the 21st century, you are used to food being washed and packaged, but here, the gory details are unavoidable. You are eating the medicine of the North, raw blood and organs that provide the nutrients your modern brain thinks only come from a grocery store. Furthermore, your thirst is a daily gamble. You might be tempted to eat the snow around you, but that is a no-win situation. Eating snow doesn't hydrate you. It uses your precious internal heat to melt the ice, lowering your core temperature and bringing you one step closer to hypothermia creeping through your bones. Your modern body, used to climate-controlled offices, is currently a dystopian nightmare of sluggish circulation and failing heat production. If you cannot force yourself to consume the high-density fats of the Arctic, your 24-hour journey will end not with a bang, but with a quiet, shivering collapse into the ice. By the time the sun reaches its highest point, though it barely hugs the white horizon in this frozen wasteland, you realize that staying out in the open is an immediate death sentence. You need shelter now, but you are standing in a world stripped of every building material your modern brain recognizes. There are no trees for timber, no soil for sod, and no stones for walls. There is only the snow beneath your boots. In your 21st century world, snow is for postcards or a day of skiing. Here, it is a biological hazard zone, where the air is a weapon and the ground is a hostile environment. You must build a home out of the very element that is trying to kill you, but here is where your modern human brain will betray you. You might think an igloo is just a pile of snow with a hole in it, but it is actually a masterpiece of engineering that requires nuances of observation and generational knowledge you simply do not possess. To survive, you must find a specific type of wind-packed drift, one that has been tempered by the gale until it is dense enough to be carved like stone. If you pick the wrong snow, your blocks will crumble before the second tier is even laid. And the geometry? It is a game of Russian roulette. If you do not understand the exact angle of the curve, the way each block must lean inward to support the next without a center pole, your shelter will become a tomb of ice, collapsing under its own weight and burying you in the middle of the night. Even if you miraculously manage to stack the blocks, the interior is not a romantic setting. Like the ancient huts of the past, the air inside is cold and damp. You will be huddling around a kulik, a stone lamp fueled by rendered seal fat. It doesn't roar like a modern furnace. It offers a low, flickering flame that produces a thick, heavy soot that stings your eyes and coats your lungs. There is no privacy here and no silence. You are crammed into a tiny dome with others because, in the Inuit world, human warmth is a vital tool for survival, and their warmth matters more than your comfort. Your urbanized need for personal space is a luxury that would get you killed. You have traded individual capabilities for technological dependence, and as you shiver in the dark, listening to the wind howl against your fragile walls, you realize you are clueless in the face of a civilization that built monuments out of frozen water. It is now mid-afternoon, and the hunger inside you has shifted from a dull ache to a physical wall of pain that clouds your judgment. In your 21st century life, you are used to food being washed, packaged, and chlorinated. But in the Inuit world, lunch is a gory detail that would shock you to your core. To survive the next few hours, you have to engage in a game of Russian roulette, where the only prize is a few more hours of warmth. Hunting here is not a sport. It is a biological necessity performed in a hostile environment that offers no second chances. You find yourself standing over a small, frozen hole in the sea ice, a breathing vent for a seal. This is the Maliktuk method, and it requires a keen observation of nuances and a level of patience that your urbanized modern brain simply cannot comprehend. You must stand in absolute death-like silence for 6, 8, maybe 10 hours. If your boots crunch on the snow or your shadow flickers across the ice, the seal will detect the vibration and vanish into the black depths, leaving you to starve. Your modern human brain is currently fighting the urge to move, to shiver, or to give up. But in this dystopian nightmare of ice, stillness is your only weapon. When the strike finally happens, the sensory overload is immediate. There is no kitchen to retreat to and no fire to cook with. You must do what the Inuit have done for millennia. You eat the kill while it is still steaming in the sub-zero air. To a modern observer, eating raw meat and drinking warm blood might seem barbaric, but here, it is medicine. In a world where vegetables are a myth, raw meat is your only source of vitamin C. If you tried to live on a modern diet or waited to cook your food, you would succumb to scurvy. Your teeth would loosen in your gums and your immune system would collapse. This gory reality is the only thing keeping your biological clock from reaching zero. You are consuming the medicine of the North: raw liver, heart, and the blubber that acts as the high-octane fuel for your internal furnace. You have traded individual capabilities for technological dependence. And as you struggle to stomach the iron-rich taste of raw seal, you realize that your survival depends on a ruthless mindset you never knew you needed. The Inuit don't do this for heroic labor. They do it for survival labor, knowing that one failed hunt doesn't just mean a missed meal, it means the famine of an entire family. As the afternoon light begins to thin, bleeding into haunting shades of violet and steel gray, you face a new terror that your modern mind is completely unequipped to handle: the absolute loss of direction. In your 21st century life, you have a GPS in your pocket and a paved road beneath your feet. But here, you are urbanized and clueless in a world that offers no landmarks. To your untrained eyes, the Arctic is a featureless white desert. But to an Inuit hunter, this landscape is a complex, readable map. They possess a keen observation of nuances that allows them to navigate hundreds of miles by reading the sastrugi, the wave-like ridges carved into the snow by the prevailing winds. You, however, are walking into a biological hazard zone, where every step is a game of Russian roulette. The most terrifying transformation occurs when you realize the ice beneath you isn't a solid floor. It is a living, shifting puzzle. One wrong step could land you in a lead, a crack of open seawater hidden by a thin, deceptive crust of snow. In the trenches of World War I, falling into the mud was a misery. Here, falling into the water is an execution. The water is a staggering 29 degrees Fahrenheit, and the moment you break the surface, your modern human brain will go into cold shock, causing an involuntary gasp that can fill your lungs with brine. Even if you manage to claw your way back onto the ice, your heavy woolen or fur clothing immediately acts as an anchor, dragging the heat out of your core at a rate 25 times faster than the air. Within minutes, your wet gear will freeze into a suit of armor that is so stiff you won't be able to move your joints, leaving you to perish from hypothermia creeping through your bones. Furthermore, you are likely committing a fatal error by working too hard. In your world, sweating is a sign of a good workout. Here, sweat is a biological danger. If you perspire under your furs while trying to find your way, that moisture will freeze against your skin the moment you stop moving. This turns your clothing into a refrigerator, chilling your blood and leading to a collapse of your immune system. You have traded individual capabilities for technological dependence, and without a screen to tell you where to go, you are simply a casualty of the modern era, wandering in circles until the realm of absolute darkness finally swallows you whole. As the final sliver of violet light vanishes beneath the horizon, the Arctic undergoes a terrifying transformation. This isn't the peaceful, starry night of a modern winter. It is a realm of absolute darkness and shadow, where the rules of the day no longer apply. In your 21st century life, darkness is something you banish with the flick of a switch. But here, the dark is thick, heavy, and alive. You are now entering the most dangerous phase of your 24-hour struggle. Because in the Inuit world, the night doesn't just hide the cold, it hides the predators. You are no longer the apex predator. While you are squinting at the horizon, trying to catch a glimpse of anything in the gloom, you are being watched. The polar bear, or Nanook, is the only animal on Earth that will actively track a human being for miles as a primary source of food. It doesn't care about your modern human brain or your technological dependence. It has smelled the seal oil on your breath and the warmth of your huddle from miles away. In the trenches of the First World War, nightfall brought the risk of trench raiders. In the Arctic, the raider is 1,000 pounds of white muscle and claws that moves as silently as a ghost across the pack ice. Your only defense is your keen observation of nuances, a skill your modern life has stripped away. You have to listen, not to the wind, but for the specific rhythmic crunch of snow that sounds different from the groaning of the sea ice. If you hear it, it's already too late for a modern visitor to react. You don't have a Maxim machine gun or artillery to protect you. You have a harpoon made of bone and a knife made of stone. This is the gory reality of the North. Survival is a game of Russian roulette, played against a creature that has mastered this environment for millennia. As the hours crawl by, the isolation begins to weigh on you. Your ancestors thrived because of cooperation and collective problem solving. But if you are alone in this darkness, your mind will start to break. There is a documented phenomenon known as pibloktok, or Arctic hysteria, where the combination of extreme cold, isolation, and the crushing darkness causes a total mental collapse. Your urbanized brain, starved of the sensory input of the modern world, begins to hallucinate. Every shadow becomes a threat. Every groan of the ice sounds like a scream. You realize that the Arctic doesn't just want to freeze your blood, it wants to break your spirit. You are a clueless newcomer in a world that offers no mercy. And as the clock ticks toward the 24-hour mark, you have to wonder, is the morning sun ever coming back? Or have you already vanished into the ice? As the first light of the second morning begins to bleed across the horizon in haunting shades of violet and steel gray, you find yourself at the end of your 24-hour struggle. You are a clueless newcomer in a world that never wanted you to live. Your body is now a map of sensory overload and biological failure. You have spent the night huddled in what feels like a tomb of ice, listening to the groaning sea ice and praying for a sun that feels like a fragile promise. You are dehydrated. Your muscles are stiff from yesterday's labor, and your modern human brain is fogged by the early stages of hypothermia. But as you look around, you see the Inuit family beside you waking up to do it all over again. To them, this isn't a hostile environment or a biological hazard zone. It is simply home. They didn't survive because the Arctic was kind. They survived because they adapted to cruelty and turned the most unforgiving climate on Earth into a monument to their endurance. While you have traded individual capabilities for technological dependence, they have maintained generationally developed subsistence patterns that allow them to read the wind and the ice like an instruction manual. You are the descendant of successful champions, but in this 24-hour test, you have realized how far the age of central heating and supermarkets has removed you from your own heritage. The Inuit world isn't just about survival labor. It's about the sheer tenacity of the human spirit to find success in the simple act of choosing every day not to vanish. So as the blue-gray light of the North returns, ask yourself, would you have the resilience and toughness to wake up for day 2? Let me know in the comments if you think you'd be a survivor or just another casualty of the modern era.